Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, this is Jeremy Smith. I was looking through my videos and realized that my Nikon Wi-Fi setup video is very old. It was helpful for a lot of people, I would like to think, and it allowed us to take a look at Nikon's very first camera that offered Wi-Fi, the D7200. And that camera implemented Wi-Fi slightly differently than all the cameras we have on the market now. Back when Wi-Fi first started becoming available, Nikon decided to start to roll it out slowly using their external Wi-Fi adapters, like the WU1A and WU1B. And on the 3200, that worked out fairly well, but now we have cameras that actually have Wi-Fi built in. And I've mentioned in some of my review videos lately, like on the 5500 and the 7200 video, I mentioned that the built-in Wi-Fi seems to perform better than the Wi-Fi that you get with the wireless adapter. Also in the 7200, it supports near-field communication technology as well, and it's the first Nikon DSLR to do so. So because of all this, I decided that there was definitely the time to go ahead and update my Wi-Fi setup video. So taking a look at this 7200, if you look at the back of it right here, you'll notice in our setup menu here, we have a couple different things. We have our Wi-Fi and then we have our NFC. Now Wi-Fi is grayed out right now because I have to toss a card in this. But once we have the NFC enabled, we're basically able to get close to the NFC chip on the camera with another device. And basically, they do a handshake process, and then we're able to initiate our communication over Wi-Fi. Now, the beauty of NFC is that it makes setup much easier. Basically, NFC stands for Near Field Communication. And basically, it uses a electromagnetic field, and it only works at a very short range, within centimeters. And that electromagnetic field forms a basis of communication. It doesn't transmit a lot of data to the primary device, but it does basically say, okay, hi, I'm a camera, and it initially goes ahead and launches the Nikon app on the supported device, and then the process of the two initializing happens, and then communication continues over Wi-Fi. So basically, you're not having to put in a PIN code, you're not having to turn on the Wi-Fi and then have the smart device look for the camera and things like that. So basically, that NFC technology doesn't have the capacity to store a lot of information, but it does store authentication information. So that way, the whole setup becomes much easier. Now, this is very interesting because, unfortunately, right now on Apple devices, this is not something that is supported. But if you have an Android-powered tablet or smartphone, and it's a newer device, chances are it has NFC built in. I have a Sony Xperia tablet that I'm going to use to show this to you guys today. And I'm still going to show you on an iOS device as well how you would do the setup if you don't have NFC. Alrighty, well, go ahead and take a look at this. Okay, so now I have my tablet out. And there is now a memory card loaded into this camera. So now maybe we'll go in here and turn the Wi-Fi on. Like that. And you can see the NFC location over here on the side of the D7200. And on the back of this tablet, amongst a bazillion fingerprints, there's also a similar spot there. I'll go ahead and get this tablet unlocked. There you have it. And now all we have to do is just tap both these together. There's a little chime. And that's all there is to it. They immediately connect. They go ahead and the tablet goes ahead and launches the app and everything for us. If you're connected to another Wi-Fi hotspot, the tablet will go ahead and ask you if you want to disconnect from it and connect to the camera. Otherwise, it happens very, very quickly. So you can see I have some different folders here on this memory card. I'll select the one with the 7200 photos in it. And as you can see, I can go ahead and look at my buddy Marcus. He's going to really appreciate this. So yeah, you can see all the pictures that are actually stored on this memory card as I was testing out this today. Now, one thing also that I've noticed is that the range is a lot better on the newer Nikon cameras that have Wi-Fi built in. There I am demonstrating this to somebody with the tablet in my hands. You can see how far away I am from the camera. I'm probably about 15 feet or so. Anyways, I played with that for quite a while, as you would imagine. So I've noticed that it's actually much, much better now in terms of range. You get a lot more distance out of it. Where on earth did I go there? I guess I was hiding behind the camera. I have noticed, interestingly enough, too, that you get more range out of the cameras whenever you're using an Android device as opposed to an iOS device. I think it probably has something to do with the iOS 8, honestly. Apple, I'm not really sure what's happening with them these days, but that's another story. iOS 8's been a bit of a disaster in some areas in terms of Wi-Fi connectivity and such, but I'll keep playing with that. The app hasn't really changed in functionality any. You can still go in here and select your photos. If you wanted to download something, you can select it, hit down. Actually, you'd hit this little check first, and then you hit download. It still asks you, so you download there. Still asks you what size you want. So you can do original size, which is going to be the full 24 megapixel file, or we could do recommended size, which is kind of a roughly 6 megapixel file if I recall. So kind of in between. Or you can do the VGA size, which of course is very, very low resolution. I personally like to do the recommended size for most things, like Instagram and Facebook. If I were going to order print of some sort through some sort of online ordering service using a tablet or smartphone, that's where the original would come into play. So let's see if I do that. And you can see the downloading, bam, I mean, it's done. It happens much faster on the newer cameras than it did on the older ones. I did test using the WU1A and WU1B with the newer versions of the apps on newer smart devices, but it doesn't really seem to change the speed and performance a whole lot. So that leads me to believe that there is a definite hardware difference happening these days that actually allows this whole process to happen much faster. We can also still take photos here too. Wow, that was close. The camera was actually pointed at my legs. And I may or may not be wearing pants because you can't see my legs in this video, so we'll keep it that way. Now, unfortunately, one thing I've noticed is the fact that there still isn't the ability to go in here and change manual settings, and I really wish there were. So, from what I can tell, there doesn't seem to be any real hardware reason that Nikon can't do that. It seems to be all down to software, so hopefully Nikon will implement that in the future. There's obviously plenty of communication going on between the camera and the device. We can see our battery level, we can see our shutter speed and our f-stop, but we cannot change them. You can see we can still do the whole tap to focus thing. And even that works faster these days. It's not nearly as laggy as it was before. Also, guys, notice the video update rate. I mean, look at that. It's noticeably faster. Remember how it was all laggy and everything before. So it works out much, much faster these days. You can tap to focus, and you can take a photo like that. Right now, the auto download is on. So after taking a photo, it immediately downloads it to the tablet. But once again, notice how this whole process is very quick. I mean, it's fast. I love that. And bam, there it is. You can still go in here and enable your self timer. So if you want to, I know I'm fumbling about a bit, but it's kind of hard to look at a tablet through a phone screen and still be able to use everything. We have the ability to turn the live view off as well. So if we want to actually just take photos with the camera, we can, and they'll still get downloaded to the tablet instantaneously. So maybe, you're shooting and you want someone else to be able to view the photos, and you actually keep the camera in your hands. You can use that option. So yeah, all in all, it works very, very well. All of our main settings here. You can synchronize the clock, which is pretty cool. Battery options here. So you can see when you can set some thresholds for when the live view and everything will stop. If either the smart device or the camera falls within a certain range. We've got some Wi-Fi options here. Yeah, Nikon's app, it does work a lot better now. It's still definitely very light on options, honestly. But I still have faith. Hopefully that will change in the not so distant future. Yeah, so all in all, I'd say this app works much, much better than it did previously. We'll go ahead and take a look at this on an iOS device as well and kind of do a bit of a brief comparison here. Oh yes, and I almost forgot, guys, to show you the self-timer options and everything on this device. I basically just kept hitting the wrong button because, like I said, it's hard to operate the tablet and the camera. I'm filming with it at the same time. But you just tap right there on that little corner there. You can do things like turn the self-timer on and off. It's probably not helping either that it's like way early in the morning. My brain's not fully awake. So yeah, we can turn on those different options. Self-timer. If we have that turned on, I'll go ahead and show you here. You can see it wakes a couple seconds before firing. So that way, if you wanted to do like a family group shot or something like that, it makes it much, much easier to get things done that way, and you won't be staring at your smart device screen in the picture you take. You can hit there. And that's one thing that I don't like about this app, and that brings up a good point. It doesn't stay on after every shot. You have to come back and turn it on again. And see, there it is. If we do it again, it's off. I'm not really sure why they did that. I mean, if you want to turn the self-timer on, it should just stay on, for God's sakes. So that's kind of weird. But anyways, that's how that works. You can turn off the download after shooting. So that way, whenever you take a photograph, it won't download immediately. And for a lot of situations, I prefer it that way too, because if you turn that off, you can actually just go back and select which pictures you want to download, as opposed to having each and every photograph transfer over. And then, of course, we can turn our live view on and off there at the top. So that pretty much rounds out the app. We'll have a brief look at this on iOS 8 as well. So when using an iOS device, unfortunately, you don't have the ability to use NFC. Unfortunately, even though phones like the iPhone 6 and iPhone 6 Plus have Apple Pay compatibility, which does use NFC technology, Apple only allows the NFC in their devices to be used for Apple Pay right now. For mobile payments and such. It doesn't allow you to use NFC to establish connection with other devices. So basically, even on an iOS 8 device, like an iPhone 6 or something like that, you still have to set up your Wi-Fi the traditional way. So to do that, we go in here, and of course, now it doesn't really matter if NFC is on or off because it's not going to be used. Of course, the Wi-Fi has to be on. Once all that's set up, we go into our settings and Wi-Fi, and then you'll basically just see all the Wi-Fi networks around you. Let's see, let me increase my phone brightness a bit. There we go. So you basically see all the Wi-Fi networks around you. And in this particular case, the one that we're looking for is going to be the Nikon device there. Okay, so we select that, and they start to connect to each other. And they do. And then once that happens, we can go in here and we can open our Nikon app. Just like that. And basically it's the same thing. I can film this a bit easier with it being a smaller device. Basically, we have the exact same options as we do on the Android-powered device. We can still come in here and view the pictures that we've taken. Once again, we can go down here to change folders. Like that. And sure enough, there you have it. You can see we have the same interface. There's my buddy again. So yeah, we have the same type of interface that we had on the Android-powered device. We can still go through all these if we want to. If we want to be able to go in here and download something, once again, hit there. And it's weird on the iOS devices, the little download icon's in a different spot. You go back here, and then you go select and download. Same options for size. We hit download there. You can see it still happens very fast. Now, in terms of range, I noticed that whenever I was using a device like an iPhone 6, I noticed that the range wasn't nearly as great. As you can see, it still downloads very fast, but instead of being able to get, 15 to 30 feet away, I was only able to get about 5 or 10 feet away before I started to get a very laggy connection between the device and the camera. So chances are you're probably not going to be using this at a very great distance, but just kind of FYI on that. Okay, we'll go back, go to top, and of course you can see I can take photos as well here. So yeah, same exact thing. To my eyes, it looks pretty much just as fast. It's still a very fast connection. For some reason though, sometimes the focus is a bit laggier on an iOS device, although that doesn't seem to be happening right now. We have our options up there for our live view, our download after shooting, and our self timer. So very, very straightforward on that. Once again, I can fire this. And you can see everything still happens very quickly. Yeah, so they've made a lot of improvements in this app. Still, of course, no ability to change manual controls, but hopefully they'll see fit to update that in the future. We've got everything there. Let's give the self timer a go. You can see a little icon appears there for that. And there you have it. Once again, it does the same really creepy thing, annoying thing, where it does not leave the timer on. So yeah, if you want the timer again, you have to go back and turn it on again. I'm not sure why they did that. It's very annoying. But anyways, that's how it works. So yeah, all in all, very, very easy setup. And you can see works much, much faster with having the Wi-Fi built in than it does with the wireless adapters. If anyone has any questions, as always, feel free to write me in the comments below. If there's anything you want to see in more detail, I would be glad to make another video. As I mentioned before, my old Wi-Fi video was in desperate need of update. Be sure to share my videos because that allows me to make even more videos. And don't forget to write in the comments and subscribe for even more videos in the future. Until next time, this is Jeremy Smith, signing off.